Hi everyone, welcome back. Here we are again. This is episode 15 of the WhotKnot podcast. My name is Kathy. I'm a disabled maker after a car accident in 2007, and this is a podcast all about crafty things that I've been up to. And I've got a few things to show you this week. I've been busy, so there's that. I'd just like to say a big thank you to all the new subscribers. We've had quite a few in the last 2 weeks, so that's really nice. And if you are a new subscriber, just leave a little comment down below and introduce yourself. I really enjoy that. So I hope you're all well. The weather is starting to warm up here and I'm all about that. So today I haven't got a jumper on. Today I have got a shawl on. I've nearly shown you all my jumpers actually. I think I've only got one more two more jumpers. One's a sort of a t-shirt and a cardigan. I have got a cardigan that I knit probably 25 years ago. It's the only cardigan, or the only knitwear that I've still got from years ago that I've knitted, so I might show that to you at some stage as well. Now I'd just like to say a thank you to all the people who join us on the Instagram live. That's fun. My daughter and I are doing another one this afternoon, so today's Wednesday. I normally podcast on every second Wednesday, that's my goal. And I got a couple of nice little packages from some lovely people in the mail this week, so I'll show you those a little bit later on in the podcast. So thank you to those people, and let's get into it. So as I said, I'm wearing a shawl today, and this shawl is the Cottonwood shawl by Kirsten Finley, and I really like it. I like the colours, it's easy to wear. It's got a really nice lacy border. Probably really needs a reblock. I've had it sitting there for a little while, but it's got a nice lacy border. It's a really easy knit. I would recommend it. I like the colour. I actually had to combine two different yarns for this shawl because it requires 3 skeins of DK, and I had 2. Let me see, I've written them down for you. 2 Little Stone Cottage in Fractured Moonlight and 1 B&Bell Studios called Monkey's Wedding. And they were very, very similar. So what I did was I knit with one, blended in the other, and then finished off with the one that I had 2. So if you look, you can see there's a slight variation in that centre panel where I faded in and out that single skein, but I think it still works pretty well and I was quite happy with it. So that's what I'm wearing. I will tell you that everything that I talk about, I try to do extremely detailed show notes so that if you have got any questions about anything that I talk about, it's all in the show notes. My social media details are all in the show notes. So if you are interested in following me on Instagram, I mean really that's the only other thing I do other than this. I don't really do Facebook and things like that very much, but yeah, it'll all be in the show notes. So there's that. Now, I've got a few finished objects to show you this week, and first and foremost, just put those scissors away, is the Luminous shawl. So I started showing this to you a couple of weeks ago. I am knitting this as a gift for Mark's Auntie Rhonda because she's not very well. She is spending a bit of time in hospital, and I have spent a bit of time in hospital too, and it gets cold in there. So I thought this might be nice and warm. It'll be light enough that she can pack it easily to go to hospital, and because the blend is, oh, I forgot to grab the tag. Hang on, I'll just grab the tag. I have saved the tag because I'm going to pack it with it, because it is a hand wash item, which I know is a bit iffy when you're giving that sort of thing as a gift, but Rhonda will be very careful with it, I know. So this is the Knit Picks Wonderfluff here, and it's so soft. I think it, I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it seems to me like, you know, the yarns that you can get now that have the casing and they're blown, the fibres are blown into the casing. It seems like that kind of yarn to me. But I will tell you the mix is 70% baby alpaca, 7% merino and 23% nylon. So I reckon that the nylon is actually the casing, and then the mohair and the baby alpaca are blown into it. But it was a really enjoyable knit. I was going to do another repeat because I had a bit of yarn left, but as it turns out I don't think I would have had enough. And Rhonda is a very small lady, and I thought that might be just a bit too much to wrap around. So as you can see, it's quite a good length. It's the pattern repeat went for 7 repeats, so I did all the 7, and one of the things I really like about this is the border that she's done on this. It's a bit different. You can see the pattern up close there. It's got those diamonds within diamonds all over it. It's really, really pretty, really interesting to look at. But the border is really nice. It's a combination of knits and pearls, and it doesn't roll at all. Not one little bit. Even when you're knitting it, it sits nicely. I have washed and blocked this. The wool washed up really nicely, and it blocked really nicely as well. So I've put one of my little handmade tabs on it like I like to do. Where is it? There it is. There. So that will be packed up along with the beanie that I knit for Bill a couple of weeks ago, and we'll get that in the mail to her, and hopefully that is comforting to her to wear or have with her at very least while she's in hospital. We would have normally gone down and visited them, but obviously due to the whole COVID-19 thing, that's not happening. And especially now that Rhonda is not well, my husband in particular would really like to get down to see her, but of course that is not happening either. So I'm hoping that that will be something for her to feel comfortable with anyway. Alright, so that's my Luminous shawl. That is by Sunflower Knits, and the colour of the Wonderfluff is Finley Heather. So that's that. Excuse me, I just have to adjust my bra strap. This shawl's pulling it down. I'm probably going to be fidgeting all day with this on, but I'll see how I go. If I feel like I'm fidgeting too much, I will take it off. Alright, now the next thing that I have finished, I did 2 watercolours this week. I tested out my new blue watercolour palette from the Prisma range, and we had an Instagram live, and I said what would people like me to paint, and otters was the thing that people wanted me to paint. I'm really happy with the blue colours. I feel like they look a bit washed out here on the screen, on the monitor there, but they're really vivid, really beautiful colours. They stayed vibrant. As I've said to you before, when you're painting in watercolours, as they dry, the colour fades by about 30% as it dries. But I feel like these colours have stayed crisp and clean, bright and clean. So, yep, I was happy with that. And if you're interested, this guy is for sale in my Etsy store. And I did have a custom order from lovely Kim, who is the Crazy Cat Lady on Instagram, and she wanted me to paint her cat Penelope on A5 size. So that's half of one of these blocks. So there she is with her big green eyes. So that's Penelope, and I will be packing that up for you this afternoon, Kim, and sending that off. So if you do have a custom order request, let me know and I'll see if I think I can paint it. So they were my 2 watercolours that I've done this week, as well as I am working on some new cards, which I'll show you one of those. I've got a new design. I'll just grab it. I wasn't going to show you, but I will. Cannot resist. So I thought I would go with a bit more of a woodland theme, and I've done some little bunny cards. There's only 2 sets of these at this point. So one will be the rabbit, the little echidna, and the little raccoon. So they're the 3 that I've painted this week. 2 new designs anyway, so they'll be going in the shop probably on the weekend. And speaking of the shop, I did finish the Big Kahuna project bag. So this is already sold, so I'm just showing it to you so you can see how big it is. I think that the pictures made it look a bit smaller than it was, but it's quite a big bag. And I was really happy with how it turned out. Beautiful. I love this fabric so much. Beautiful pink fabric. Looks so pretty with the little bunny on the front there. Let's get rid of that strap. And I've put I had some vintage buttons that I've sewn on there, and I've done a little bit of hand embroidery on the back. So a few people asked me about this bag. I am only doing one-offs, custom one-offs, so they are special. I have got many ideas going through my head. I'm going to lose the shawl. I'm going to take it off because I am feeling a bit hot and I feel like it's looking a bit untidy. This is my favourite long sleeve t-shirt, this one. You know, you get t-shirts these days and they're made out of like real nylon-y stuff, and they actually feel cold when you put them on. Like when you've worn them for a while, they warm up, but I feel cold when I put them on. This one is made out of like a fleece, and it's got like a tiny little bit of fleece. I've had it for like 100 years. And yeah, it's my favourite, and it's a v-neck. Anyway, sidetrack. So I've got a couple of ideas. These take me a while to make because of the painting and the hand stitching and things like that. So these are not going to be mass produced. I'm hoping to get maybe one of these up for sale once a week, once a fortnight. And I have painted the next one. Should I show you? Or should I keep it a surprise? I'll just give you a little sneak peek at it. So I haven't, I wasn't going to show you this, so I haven't got it ready. But I've painted this guy, and I will be making the bag up this week. Hopefully. We'll see how we go. So I've just been busy. My creative vibe is on, and I've got lots of ideas about things, just like with most of us. I need there to be like 3 of me so I can make all the things. Anyway, now, so that's my watercolour, my bag, and the last thing was, now in the last podcast I showed you this little kit that I got to make this doll. This little doll here. and it was all in Russian, the instructions. Yep. So that was interesting. This was extremely fiddly to make. It took me a lot longer than I anticipated. Luckily in the pattern there's a lot of visual instructions. So I was able to sort of nut it out from them what was going on. I did make a couple of mistakes, which I'll show you when I show you the doll. It's a really interesting construction, which I did find a couple of YouTube tutorials on similar dolls. Not the same, but similar. So I took bits and pieces from those. I tried the Google Translate. I've never used that before, and I found it extremely frustrating. So I ditched that. I relied on my own personal knowledge and, of course, as I say, the diagrams. So, what did I end up with? I got this little girl. So she's all finished. I mean, she looks like the picture. So she looks super cute. I hope that's focusing. And she's got her little teddy bear. And I knit him a little jumper. I didn't follow the pattern. And if you remember last episode, I told you she had the sneakers. Well, I kind of figured out from the pattern she's got the sneakers on under there, and I covered the shoes in some of the fabric, the same as her hat. I covered her shoes, and I put my handmade tab on her shoe with her name, and I decided to call her Winnie. I don't know why, that name just popped into my head. So it was an interesting construction because the head, I mean, it looks like a perfect circle. It's actually made out of 6 pieces of cotton fabric, which you sew together in such a way that it creates basically a balloon. And then you have this almost like thick stocking fabric that you pull over the head to give it this shape. So that was interesting. I'd never come across that before. I watched a YouTube on it, as I said, and she said that you don't leave a seam allowance with the pattern. Don't leave a seam allowance when you're cutting out the head pieces. So I didn't, and then lost my focus and didn't cut any of the pieces out without the 1/4 inch seam allowance. So her jacket turned out a tiny bit small, and it was kicking up a little bit on the corners here. So as this is not a toy that children, or it's not really a toy even, it's just a display item, I've sewn her jacket onto the skirt just on the corners there just to help it sit nicely. But other than that, and the back of it, she's got a little a nice big collar on the back of it that sits around her neck. And yeah, I really liked doing it. I changed it up. There was a decal that you were supposed to iron on the front there, but I thought it looked a bit commercial and I wanted this to look handmade. So I made a little pocket for her, and I trimmed it with the matching fabric from the pocket down here just to tie it all in. And then I took her up to my bathroom where all my makeup is, and we had a little beauty session, and I put some rouge on her, blush on her cheeks. So she is all done. She was a lot of fun. It was very fiddly. It did test my skills. I would not recommend this for a beginner unless you can get the pattern in English, which I think they do sell these with an English instruction manual, but that's not what I got. But other than that, I was very happy with how she turned out. So that's Winnie. Okay. So that's all my finished objects that I've got this week. And as I say, they kept me busy, so I feel like I got quite a bit done. And now we are on to whips. So I've got my Zweig, as we've discussed in previous podcasts, so I will only show it to you quickly. I've got about 4 inches to go on the body, and I will be ready to finish that off. So I've probably done, I think I was up to about here when I saw you last, so I've done about that much. I'm trying to, I like from underarm to where I like it to sit with other garments that I've knit to be 14 inches in length here, and I'm up to about just under 10 here now. So yeah, about 4 inches to go. I've set myself a goal of knitting 1.5 inches every night while I'm watching TV. I have made the decision not to do the textured pattern that is in the body and the sleeves, only because I feel like there's enough going on with this variegated yarn. And also too, like at night time, I just want to sit there and knit and watch the tally box with my husband. So yeah, I feel like I'm making good progress on that, and I'm expecting to be working on the sleeves by the time I see you next. So I think that I've probably only got a couple more weeks work on that, and it will be done, and I can start thinking about my next project. So that is the Zweig, that is the knit along I'm doing with Lindsay, lovely Lindsay, and I will put all the details for that knit along in the show notes. So if there's still time, we're running it until the end of October. So if you haven't cast it on and you want to, there is definitely still time to do that. And you can join us, I think, what are we up to? September, October. You've still got a good 2 months to get it finished. And there's some pretty delightful prizes. So that's that one. I don't know why, but I've got 2 pairs of socks. For somebody who doesn't knit socks, I've got 2 pairs of socks on the needles at the moment. So I've just got a pair of vanilla socks because Mel was so happy with the ones that I gave her for her birthday that I thought I would cast on another pair. So I am using this yarn, which is Regia, and let me just put my glasses on so I can see what colour we're talking about here. I think it's called Summertime. They haven't got that written on the band. They've got a number, which is boring, so I will just put that in the show notes. But yeah, I like these because you look at that, you don't know what that's going to knit up into, and then you start knitting and it makes you want to knit because you want to see what it's going to knit up into. Well, I'll show you what it's going to knit up into. It's going to knit up into this. Mill likes the bright colours, so whenever I'm buying sock yarn, I sort of tend to, because I really knit her the socks mainly, so I tend to go for the bright colours. But how much fun is that? Yeah. I like knitting all my socks on DPNs. I've tried magic looping. I've tried the 9-inch circulars, and my preferred method is the DPNs. And I'm also, with that, I'm using some Lana Grossa in the, this is a greeny shade, I don't think it's got a name either, for the heels, cuffs and toes, because I want to make these socks a bit longer and I don't want to run out of yarn. I like to, Mill likes her socks a bit longer, so I kind of like this to be about 7 or 8 inches long. So yeah, I thought I'll just use a contrast colour to be on the safe side. So that's the first pair of socks. And then I watched Lindsay's podcast, and she was knitting the mint tea socks, as is everyone I've noticed on Instagram. But I saw them on Lindsay's podcast and I thought, oh, I quite like those. I don't know if Mill will love these as much as her other ones because I'm knitting them in a pastel-y minty colour, and I've never knit her a lacy pair of socks before, but I think everybody's seen the pattern. It's a pretty easy pattern to follow. It's got the little, well, it looks like a mint leaf running up and down the outside of each foot, so you've got to knit the opposite for each foot, and then it's got like this stippled sort of raised textured area in the main body of the foot, and that runs all the way up and down the front of the foot only. The back of it is just your plain knitting, and this yarn is almost micro striping. And the yarn that I'm using, there's a bit of a story because I don't know if you remember, I showed you a couple of weeks ago my northeasterly blanket, which FYI I have done no further work on, but I'm going to get back to it. I was knitting a Luli yarn self-striping and a cream and alternating, and I thought I would knit a colour stripe, pale colour stripe. And when I looked back at the video when I was showing it to you guys, I did not like it. It did not sit well with my eyeballs, so I frogged that, and this was the yarn that I was using for that. And this is Fruitful Fusion in the colour Verbena. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful colour. But I thought that kind of looked minty. And it was sitting on my desk after I frogged it. And as I say, watched Lindsay's podcast and I thought, that looks like a pair of mint tea socks. So I cast it on and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. In actual fact, this is the first pair of lace socks I've ever knit. There is a slight fault in the pattern, which Lindsay mentioned, and she thought that that had been fixed. But I downloaded the pattern after I watched her podcast, and it's not fixed. There is, I think it's on about row 14 or something of the pattern. Yeah, so if you are planning on knitting these, just keep an eye out for that. It's a really easy fix. It's a one stitch problem, but there is a slight fault in the pattern. And I'm keeping this in my lovely, lovely, lovely little bag that Lindsay made for me out of her beautiful fairy fabric. Yep, strawberries and deliciousness. I was thinking about this last night, and I think that, like, I make project bags and I could easily make myself a project bag, but it's like, you know, when you make dinner and you eat it and it's nice and all the rest of it, but if somebody else cooks your dinner or cooks something for you, it tastes super delicious. Well, it's like that with project bags. The project bags that Lindsay and also Paula from Stitchedbymrsd has made me a project bag, they're much more delicious. So I really love this bag. I like that it's travelled all the way over from England to me. The fabric is beautiful. Even the fabric inside is beautiful. So thank you, Lindsay. I love it. I have really been enjoying using this little bag. So that's that one. And the last thing that I've cast on is actually not for me. It's not for me to knit. I have cast on a Tin Can Knits beanie, the Barley beanie, which is a really easy pattern. I have got it all packed up into a little project bag, one of my project bags, and I've got all the bits in it. The yarn that I'm using is from Spotlight, and it's a Modavira Malibu 8 ply, and I don't know if it's got the colourway on it. No, it's just a number, but I'll put the details. That's the band. So just a sort of a generic yarn that you buy at Spotlight. This is the yarn. So it's going to be multicoloured and all the rest of it there. It's got all the pretty colours. I have started knitting the band on these little circular needles. And this is for my mum. She had tried circular needles a long time ago. She's actually a very good knitter and she knit for all us kids when we were little. There's 6 of us, so she was knitting a lot, her and Grandma. And she doesn't think she likes the circular needles, but I'm going to pop around and visit her tomorrow for the first time. I think it's only the second time I will have seen her this year, but we do chat on Mondays. And so I've cast this simple pattern on. I'm going to print out the pattern for her, and I've got the correct size needles, and I don't think she knows how to do a long tail cast on. If she enjoys this, I'll teach her how to do the long tail cast on. She taught me how to cast on when I was little, and she uses the method where you put the first stitch on and then you add to that stitch. But I think, you know, to have a nice band, a stretchy band on your beanie, I've done the long tail cast on, so I've set it all up for her so she can just start knitting away. She does have a little bit of arthritis in her hands these days, so we'll see how she goes. But she's got many grandchildren, and she's now got a couple of great-grandchildren. So I think that she could knit a few beanies for these guys and practice her circular needles. So we'll see how you go with that, Mum. I'll see if I can get some video footage of Mum doing that tomorrow. But you cast on the 4mm needles and then you step up to the 5. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have as long a cord, and I've only got the short tip needles. So I'm hoping she's not going to find that too fiddly, but we'll see how she goes. If she does, I will get her the longer needles. So that's for Mum. And when she's finished, I'm going to get her to give me the beanie back so I can show you guys what a magnificent job she's done. So I'll see you tomorrow for that one, Mum. So that's all packed up. She's got some progress keepers in there, her ball band, and I'll print the pattern off for her. So she will be all set. All right. Now, that is it for my whips. I am thinking of casting on a new whip because I did purchase some yarn, which I'll show you in my purchasing section, which I was thinking about it the other day, and I'm going to call my purchasing section For Me, From Me. That's what it's going to be, because I buy for me, so it's from me, and I like getting that stuff in the mail. So that's it. My Etsy seller. Now, I've got a little secret. If you've made it this far into my video, you are going to be in the draw for my 500 subscriber video. Subscriptions. I've got just gone over 500 subscribers. So I have bought a few bits from this Etsy seller, and some of it is going to be a prize for people that have made it to this far of the video. So what I want you to do is, in the comments below, mention the word soap in your comment. And if you do, I will hunt you down and put you on my list, and you will go in a random generator, and I will announce the winner on next week's podcast. But I'm not going to say anything about it on social media. It's just this point in the video that if you've watched it, you will know. So this Etsy seller, let me get all the details. It's Adele, and she lives in Daylesford in Victoria, here in Australia. Her Etsy store name is Potager Soap. And she's got 90 sales on her shop, and she's got some beautiful, beautiful things. So the soaps come in these lovely little boxes, and they're all packaged so beautifully. And you can see in there something hiding in there. All right, let's have a look. Enough teasing. So I've got these two little guys, and I've bought two. I bought 4 of these, so I've got 2 for presents that I'll give away at Christmas time, and I've bought 2 to give away to somebody that mentions soap. And this is these little guys. Look at these. What a great present at Easter time, hey? Yeah. And they smell nice. This one is marshmallow. The white one is marshmallow with a little flower on its head. And this one is a chocolate flavour. And that smells like chocolate. So I got 2 of these and 2 of those. So you'll get both of these in the prize. And she threw in a couple of goodies, and I won't open them because I might stick one of these in the prize as well. But there is some blackberry, carrot and calendula soap, which it smells nice. I can actually get a little whiff of carrots, so I won't open the bag or anything. I'll keep that all packed up. And there is a tiny little cake of rose and pink clay. And that also smells delicious, and it's got a nice little dried flower on the top of it there. But I have bought a cake of soap for myself, which I haven't opened up yet, but I wanted to show you the packaging. I think she does a lovely job on the packaging. It was all beautifully packaged. You do pay for postage with this Etsy seller, but it's reasonably priced, and her soaps are priced between $5 and $6.50 for a cake, and these little bunnies are $6.50 each, which I think that's nice. That's smells so good. How cute. So Adele likes to combine her love of gardening and soap making, so that's why she's got like the little dried flowers and things, and the sort of plant-based product names and things like that. So just beautiful. So many great Etsy sellers. Can't get enough of it. So don't forget, it's a secret, mention soap in your comment to go in the prize draw for those. All right, so that's my Etsy seller. And that's everything that I've got to show you this week. I have got my For Me From Me section. So if you are not interested in watching that, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you coming back over and over to watch my videos, and I will look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time for you to catch up on all the crafty things that I've been making. But for everybody else, let's have a look what I've been buying. Okay, so what have I been purchasing? And some of these things I haven't purchased. Some of them are gifts this week. I did receive a couple of lovely little packages in the mail, as I said earlier, as gifts. And my husband had to work away a couple of nights last week, and he bought me a present home as well. So, and also too, I have got one of my older Etsy sellers that I mentioned in, I think it was about the second or third podcast. We follow each other on Instagram, and we came to a little arrangement, so I'll tell you about that. But first off, I met up with my knitty friends that we've started meeting up sort of once a month and having a coffee and a bit of a visit to Spotlight. And one of them is Em, and she is from Carter and Brown. And lovely, generous Em, who dyes beautiful, beautiful yarn. And I'm sure that you all know her. She has quite a good following on Instagram. She has donated this little skein with a lovely little stitch marker to the podcast, and these will be going in the mug that I am giving away with the Zweig as in the prize. So there are some really, really pretty colours in here. I mean, they're all pretty actually, and the yarn is really soft. So this little bundle she gave to me, so I'm super excited about that. Beautiful colours. Thanks so much, Em. That's very generous of you. Very kind gift. So thanks. And I'm sure whoever wins this little bundle will also be pretty happy to receive that. So thanks for that. This is our first donation to the podcast, guys. Yay! So we're all winners there. Now, what did my hubby bring me back? So he went away, had to go away for work for a couple of nights, which he hates doing. Not because he hates to be away from me, he hates to be away from our dogs. No, he hates to be away from me too. He bought me this. And it's a little tea bag strainer, and it sits on the side of your mug. And he comes apart, you've probably seen them, you put your tea in his tummy and then you join it back together, which I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Should have thought about that before I pulled it apart. Oh no, good job, I've done it. I can do hard things. And he sits on your mug and your tea infuses into your hot water. How cute. So, thanks, mister, for getting me that. And the other thing that he picked up, which you will also be receiving at some, a lot of you will be receiving it when you order from the shop. He got me some nice little pins with my logo on it. They're not enamel, they're acrylic, and they've got the little backing pin. So if you order something and it's over the value of $50 in my shop, you'll be getting one of these. I might put, I'll put one of these in this prize little pack as well. So, yep. Very, very nice little thing. Yeah, cute. Just for the record, my daughter designed my logo, so she did a good job on that, and I love it. So I've got quite a big bag of those, so I'll be dishing them out. The other thing that I have purchased from Lula Yarns is their Christmas... Where have I put my glasses? I've got glasses everywhere, all different colours. You've probably noticed. Okay, so this is the Lula Yarns. This is a Christmas one. It doesn't have a name. They showed it on it's got a lot number, I think, but they showed it on Instagram and they said if anyone was interested to let them know. I let them know I was definitely interested, and they've sent that to me. So that is the Christmas one, and I love their yarn. I love their self-stripe, the way it stripes. Such beautiful colours. They do a fabulous job, Louise and Deb, and I have got many, many, many balls of this yarn, and I'm not mad about it. Yep, so I'm looking forward to knitting that up. They had a little sample knit on their Instagram if you want to go and check out their Instagram. I'll link it in the show notes and see what that looks like knit up. So that's exciting. And the Etsy seller that I was telling you about was chelseavenzart, and she makes watercolour paints, and I've bought quite a few off her now, and they're really good quality, really nice, and she does a lovely job, and she's here in Australia, so that's good. And she started showing on her Instagram that she was getting eyeshadow palettes, and she pulls the eyeshadow pigment out. She's got a little video on her Instagram, I'll also link that down below, showing you the process. Quite involved. So I thought, because of my nature, if I like something, I buy a lot of it, and I am aware that that is a problem. But I did go through a phase with eyeshadow palettes, and I still have quite a few on the shelves behind me here, and I do like the eyeshadow palettes. I think it's the colours. I'm drawn to the colours. So I contacted Chelsea and I said to her, I love what you're doing with your eyeshadow palettes. Are you interested in me offloading some of my eyeshadow palettes to you? And she was all about it. So I went through my eyeshadow palettes and I boxed quite a few up and sent them to her because I was so happy that they would be getting a new lease of life. And I've seen that she sent some of them out, and I've seen some of the posts that some people that have received them have put on their Instagram, and it's so nice. It feels so nice to see them being used. But she said to me, would you like me to send one of them back to you made up into a watercolour palette as a gift? And I said yes. And I asked her for my Too Faced Summer Eyes palette back because when I wanted this palette, I had to hunt like a crazy woman to track it down. So I just like the packaging on it. And I had it sitting on the shelf because it's so pretty with the flowers and everything. Didn't really wear the eyeshadow, but Chelsea has turned all those eyeshadows into watercolours now, and they are beautiful. I used them the other day when I was making some of the cards, and they're creamy, pigmented, glittery delightfulness. So great job, Chelsea. I love it. So she sent me that, and she also sent me a little bag of goodies, which I haven't opened yet. I will open them and put them in my mixed palette and have a go with those as well. So that was a very rewarding experience all around. And then I told you a few weeks ago that Paula from Stitchedbymrsd and I were doing a swap. So I sent her a little parcel and she sent me a little parcel, and in that little parcel was this little girl. Look at her. Isn't she beautiful? Look at her big head. So nice. With her little nose in the air, tiny little ears, and Paula knits their little jumpers. This jumper's got a little bit of fuzz on it and it's soft, a little patch there. She's got her little floral skirt on. I'll just give you a little peek of her knickers, little knickers to match. Look at those tiny little skinny legs. So cute. So she is going to go and sit up on the shelf with the other little bears, and she can have a chat and a play and run around in the craft room at night with them when I'm asleep. But I love it, Paula. Her name is Jess. Paula told me that her name is Jess, and I am going to call her Jess because that's her name. And I could not be happier. Could not be happier. So if you're interested in Paula's Little Bears, she is running a like a Christmas bear club soon, I think. And obviously these are all handmade, so quite time consuming, limited positions. So if you want one of these little bears, put your name down or let Paula know that you want your name put down for one of these little sweeties. So couldn't be happier, Paula. Love her. I love her so much. And Paula sent a lovely little card and some beautiful paper and also this project bag. And this is what I was saying to you before. It's so nice, so well made, beautiful fabric on the inside there. And Paula stitches all this bunting on the outside with the little scraps of fabric, and that's also nice because it just means every little bit's being used up. And the colours in this bag match the colours on my little Jess. So yeah, perfect, perfect. Thanks, Paula. Alright, I'll show you in my scrapbook at the moment actually, because Paula wrapped that little package up in some beautiful tissue paper. I hope this isn't going to blow out this week. I've got all my bits in there. But this floral tissue paper here is what she wrapped everything up in. And it's really sweet paper. And the other thing that I got in the mail was a lovely little card and a gift from Kim, the Crazy Cat Lady Creates, and she sent me these little resin birds to put in my scrapbook. And so I've put those in, Kim, as you can see. I didn't use them all up because I wanted to save some of them. But you can see them sitting on the... I cut the piece of cardboard out that was they were sitting on in the packet as well and stuck that in. And Kim sent me a nice little note there too. So that was that. And two other things that I've purchased. I know, right? Actually, there's three here. They're small things. I bought some buttons off eBay because I'm going to be putting buttons on some of the bags and things that I'm making. And I thought, isn't this cute how she's packed it all up? Vintage buttons. And she's put them in a manila folder and then stuck them all in there. But I will put them in my button jar. So I bought those. I'm about some vintage buttons. Buttons are expensive, I've decided. When you go to Spotlight, they're expensive for a nice button. And the other thing that I bought is I was saying to the girls when we were having coffee that I was interested in trying the Suri alpaca, and it's not that easy to get here in Australia for some reason. So I found this Etsy seller online, and just put my glasses on so I can give you the correct information. This is the Suri alpaca, and this is dyed by Melinda, and she is Zakami. But on Etsy, I will put all her details below. This colour is called Turkish Delight. I've bought two skeins. So it's come from the UK and it's hand dyed. It feels really soft. It is a lot softer than mohair, and it is 74% baby Suri alpaca, 26% silk, 328 yards per hank. So there's a lot of yarn in that. Yeah, and she sent this little sample of a little mini, and at first I thought it had gathered some of the fluff from the Suri alpaca, but it's actually like that. I'll pull it out and show it to you. It's like got little knobs of pink nodules in it, dongles, is that what they call them? Like tweedy dongles in it. So that's interesting. Haven't seen that before. So Melinda sent a lovely little card and said happy knitting. And the other thing that I liked, which I'll be peeling off the pack, is her pack had, the pack that it came in had that sticker on it, which I don't know if you can see that, but it says yarns and cuddles are all you need. Right? So I liked that sticker as well. And finally, I got this from the Japanese shop. Got this online at Etsy. The Little Japanese Haberdashery. And I don't want to butcher this name, but I was watching another podcast. Like I've told you guys, I'm very easily influenced. But she was doing some Japanese embroidery, and I can't remember how it's Sashiko or, but it's the Japanese word that means the in and, like the needle stabbing in and out. So this lady had kits, and I bought the kit, and you do the embroidery on the back. I'm sure, I don't know if that's showing up, but it's got like little rainbows on the fabric, and it's got it all printed out on the fabric. You can do your own designs, and it came with the proper, I remember how I came across this. I was doing the English paper piecing, and I had a needle that I'd bought from Spotlight, and I thought, I feel like I could do better with the needle than this, because I felt like I wanted the needle to be sharper. So I started looking for needles on Etsy, and I came across these Japanese needles, and I thought, oh yeah, that looks like what I'm after. And then I thought, oh, I better see what else she's got in her shop. And I had a look in her shop, and I saw this kit, and I thought, well, I can hardly order like one tiny little packet of needles, can I? Right? So I ordered this little kit as well, because I'm always interested in trying something different. And this was a bit different for me. I know that Sia Spode, on her podcast, she did this a while ago on one of her earlier episodes. So I have seen it before, but not very often. So this was all beautifully packaged, and I put that on my list. But I think that's about it. I think that's everything. I am planning on casting on with my lovely Yarns by the Bay that my hubby, I think I showed them last podcast. My hubby's wound them up for me. I am going to do a shawl. I haven't decided whether to do the fairy bread shawl or the fairy bead shawl or another one. So I've seen another one that I quite like as well. So I will probably cast that on before the next episode. So if you want to find out what I ended up going for, catch up with me in 2 weeks' time. Alright, well, I think that's everything. Mill and I are planning on doing an Instagram live at 2:30 today, so that's in about 10 minutes. So I better clear the decks here and get ready for that. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for everybody coming back. Thank you for all my new subscribers, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye!